audio
That's pretty
purposes.
close.
That was
Okay.
pretty damn close. That'll be okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I never use that anyway.
You don't?
No.
Oh my, how do you line it up? It drives me crazy in shows when some mouth is moving and just words have to line up with a mouth.
Yeah.
In a show, if it's that little delay in the old antenna TV, you'd have to like, come on, catch up. But where are we at? What are we doing?
We're back at Be At One.
Oh, yeah.
And who are we being at one with?
We got a new face.
I know, a handsome one
More
too,
than
and a
just a
kind.
face, though,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is
Thanks.
Wise man. Julius Rick Visser.
Yep.
Whatever you know him as. It's
Viking.
like me. What would you call me?
Dude, I would call you D'Artagnan.
Yeah. I love that.
D'Artagnan. For a long time.
Tantanian?
Yeah.
D'Artagnan.
D'Artagnan.
Because he went by Denton in high school.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
I did, yeah.
For the most
Yeah.
part, right?
D'Artagnan.
Yeah, and we would watch
It's
this
Three
movie called The
Musketeers.
Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Dude, and it was D'Artagnan, and so I would just call him D'Artagnan.
Yeah.
Julius and D'Artagnan. That sounds like some conquering BA dudes.
Yeah.
Like that is, dang.
Yeah, we go way back. Way back
Yeah,
to
we do, yeah. But it's been,
before high school.
we thought it was like 10 years since we've seen each other last.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Wait, I'm
Right,
sitting at a 10-year reunion right now?
Pretty much,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Holy crap.
2014.
Probably around there.
Pretty
I mean, it'd have
close.
to be somewhere. I think I saw you when I got back from Iraq, and I got back in 2012.
Yep.
At some point, ran into you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to think the last time we actually talked. I remember sitting at your house once and talking. Which I drive by your old house every day.
Really? Do you
To
live
go
out
to my
there?
house? Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, every time I look over, I'm like, oh, there's the Vissers.
Yep.
But
Long gone now.
I know. I grew up with younger sister, but you were always legend, man. We were talking that earlier, honestly. And I forgot
thank you.
Julius, and now, the name. I want to know, where did it come from? Like Julius.
So the name
Rick, or
Julius.
Rick
and
Julius.
Yeah, Julius. So we have what do you call that? A family tradition.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Where the oldest Visser son names his oldest son his grandfather's name. So my dad is the oldest son of his family, and so he named me Julius. So there's 3 rotating names. There's Matthew, there's Julius, and there's Stephen. So
so your son's name is
Nope.
just joking.
do you have a boy?
Sorry.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
He's a beast.
You don't
Yeah,
have to
he's
say names, but
Yeah.
like you had a boy first, yeah?
Oh yeah. So
That's so lucky. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's not sexist, but it's like I can't beat up a high school kid, but my son can.
yeah.
You know, it's like if anybody's messing with my daughters, like, yep, my boy's gonna have your head. I won't, but
And your son, he's
is he a
basketball
beast?
player, right?
Yeah, he
He's-
plays basketball.
Yeah,
Dude, he's,
crazy.
He's got some height to him. How tall is this guy, or is he just a
He's
freaking?
6'4", 6'4" and a
That's
half.
height, man.
Probably weighs 220, 225.
Dang!
Big dude, yeah.
Holy crap!
He's a sophomore, so he'll be a junior next year. He's a big dude.
Big kid.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he can move quick, right? Because I've known some tall people, like
Yeah.
really tall, who
He's
like
getting there. He's getting
he's
there.
getting it. It's tough at first, man. When
Right.
and he probably sprouted up quick. I'm guessing, did he? Or no?
Yeah,
Has
yeah,
he
yeah.
always kind of been? You guys were always kind of
Yeah.
athletes, man. All of your fam.
Yeah, he's always been kind of tall. He really sprouted up the last 2 years.
Dang.
Probably grown a couple inches a year last 2 years. The doctor says he'll be like 6'7". I don't think so. I think he'll top out 6'4", 6'5". But
Really?
You never know. I kept growing out of high school. I'm not lying. Like 3 years out of high school, I kept like I'm at 6. They measured 6'3", but I really think like 6'2" or 6'2 and a half.
right.
But it's like, holy crap, in school I was like 5'11", 6 foot-ish.
Dang.
And so after school I gained another 2.5-ish. So it's like, huh. So
Interesting.
he
Yeah.
might. He really
Yeah.
might.
Right. Different people grow different times, but
I've got so many questions. Sorry to, but
Yeah,
like my brain already, like you guys are having a 10-year reunion, but you brought up serving, man, in
yeah.
Iraq. How long was that you?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way, the way I like to do it is just the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah,
And then
no,
you guys
you don't
can ask
have to.
questions from that.
I
from
like
there.
that, yeah.
Yeah. So my journey and what kind of led me to mentoring men and developing True Freedom Coaching, the life coaching company, is my life coaching company. Was I was married and divorced twice to the same woman, had 2 kids, was an Iraq war veteran and a homeless alcoholic before my 23rd birthday. So I lived all this life in a short period of time.
Holy.
And at one point I was given a choice of, I was in another, I would go to these detoxes and then I would end up in the psych ward every time, right? And I would go in for a few weeks, go in for a month, come out, try to figure out my life, go back in. And I just really struggled with it, like really struggled. And at one point, I hit this point where I was in the last one and I just knew that I needed something more, like I needed something longer. And so I was going to go to Salvation Army. And Salvation Army is a 6-month program you go do where you go work for the Salvation Army and you can stay there and you can get sober and everything. And it's free, right? It's a service-based thing. But I ended up getting in contact with this 6-month treatment center up in Prescott, Arizona. And
Ooh, beautiful area too.
Beautiful area, dude.
Yeah.
And got sober and really learned how to be a man, I would say, right? Like I was mentored by these men that came before me that taught me all these principles, got into recovery, got into the rooms, and learned how to find my truth, right? Learned how to find my peace. And all the other skills associated with that. I come from the school of thought that we've got to build a home within ourselves. And from there, when we make peace with ourselves, then we can go out in the world and participate in the world. But until I can be honest with myself, until I can be humble, until I can call a spade, and really look at some of my glaring character defects that cause my life to be hard, then I'm just going to continue to run around and be a victim of others' opinions and beliefs and ideas, and you know what I mean? And it's a miserable way to live.
It is.
So, yeah, that's the Reader's Digest version.
I'm curious, how long, like, I've only left the country once. I won't lie to you guys. I don't even have a passport.
Me either.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Mexico back in '03. I was in like 3rd grade, probably 8 years old. So I can't even say I've been to Mexico. It's probably way different. But what was that like, man? Like, I mean, if you're open to kind of sharing that, that's to me, that's one of the most, it's a big service to me. And it used to not be when I was younger, but when you go back east to where, like, the Civil War, or you go and you see the flag that flew that the Star Spangled Banner was written about, the War of 1812, like, there are things that are kind of like, to me.
Yeah.
And just people who are willing to put their life out there to serve others, like, and it doesn't even have to be blue or red or the government or any affiliation like that. It's just you were willing because you have family here. You have people you care about here. Yeah. And so what was your first, I mean...
Yeah,
I want to know craziest experience, to be honest, but you don't have to go into that.
It was such a good experience to go and be able to do that. I didn't really know it at the time because this was back in 2011. So I was 21. I just turned 21.
A lot of testosterone,
I had my son was 4 at the time. He was born in 07.
So you were a man before you even got. That's man.
I was trying, dude.
You were doing. I mean,
and how I even got into it was I just gotten my ex-wife pregnant in high school. Was a junior at the time. He was born my senior year, so I was a junior at the time. And this recruiter came through, and he came to the high school, and they were doing all the stuff. And so actually how I really got into it was my brother, who's a year younger than me. We joined together. It was his idea.
You don't have to...
Tony.
Tony. Thank you.
Tony, it was his idea. He wanted to go join. So I talked to the recruiter too. told him about my situation. He's like, well, we pay for college, we pay for this, you get insurance, you're going to get this much money.
Benefits out the yin.
Yeah, there's this signing bonus. And being a new father, I was like,
I'm set.
Let's do this. Right. So for me, in the beginning, it was absolutely a business decision. It was like, this is going to set me up, you know, scrounging for what semblance of responsibility I could muster at the age of 17, right? And decided to do it. And it evolved into a sense of pride and a sense of service, and going through those hard times like basic training, and going through, you know, we went on a training mission over in Germany for a few weeks, and getting to be out there and just going through hard times was such a beautiful experience, right? It really gave me some character that before I don't think I really had.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was pretty quick after. See, I joined in 08. Yeah, in 08, because Tony had to be 17. So 08 we joined, and then in 2011 we shipped off to Iraq. So I was in the National Guard unit that's over in St. George, and did artillery. When we went over to Iraq, we did convoy security. So we were driving these big MRAPs around. We were in Baghdad, Iraq, and it was a 6-month tour. So we did 6 months over there.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, by 2011,
it was
things
mellowed out, but it's still, but it's a foreign, I mean, dude, that's,
right.
People hear this, and, like, I've heard it, and you don't connect it. You're going to a foreign fucking planet.
Yeah.
It really, compare it to that. Picture being launched out of this atmosphere and going to Mars for 6 months.
Dude.
You have no idea what the language, you have no idea what you don't know anything. North, south, east, west, they're gone. Yeah. Like, I depend on my geography.
Right.
And going to a completely different geography, whew,
yeah.
I mean, that's hats off.
It's funny that you said Mars, because I remember getting off the plane in Kuwait, and we went in the summer, and so when I got
what are temps there? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like 120, 125. It was up there.
I remember you telling me once, like, getting so hot and you couldn't, like, douse yourself with water because you just passed right out.
Yep. So getting off the plane, I got off the plane, and I got to the bottom of the stairs, and I stood and I looked around. It was super bright, and it was hot. And I remember thinking, okay, I've got to move, because I'm clearly behind the air jet from the plane.
Yeah, this heat's radiating.
Yeah, so I'm clearly behind there. So I take like 30 steps away from the plane, and I just have this gut-wrenching realization that it is just that hot anywhere you go here. Like,
wow. Dude.
It was in the middle of, it was early June, late May, early June. So it was heating up, and there's a few times where you really couldn't drink cold water or douse cold water over yourself.
You'd pass out. Yes, right. I've had that from you're so hot, it puts your body into such a quick shock mode that it's like, go to bed. Like,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
insane.
And there would be times you'd go out, we'd get the vehicles ready and everything, and it'd be real dry. You'd be so hot, and you wouldn't actually start sweating until you went back into an air-conditioned building.
And, well, let's be honest, too. Even AC over there, man. I lived in Phoenix for a little bit, but it's different over in a third world country. It's different.
Well, we had all the stuff by then. Like, they had shipped over. We had all the nicer stuff. I mean, we lived in a Connex box. They called them chews at the time, and there was 2 guys into a chew, and it was probably a little bit smaller than this room, right? I'm not good with dimensions, but I think it was like 20 feet by 12, 13 feet, and probably 8, 10 feet tall, right? It was not super tall.
Is it like an ocean container? Is that what you're saying? So they're like 20 feet by 13 by 9.
Something like that, right? Yeah. And so they were insulated. You had an AC unit in it, and it kept it decent, right? You got adjusted as time went by, but it was
I hate to
Wow.
interrupt and I hate to step out really quick,
Yeah.
but could we hit pause, do you think?
No,
Or no?
we
We'll
can't.
keep rolling. I forgot my laundry going. I don't know if that'll
It's
interrupt
okay.
the recording. I'm so in my head with it.
It's
Continue,
alright.
Rick.
Oh, you're
I
totally good,
apologize.
Yeah, and so it was.
How many people were
wild
in that
experience.
unit? Did you already ask that? I was
2
curious
people
on the
in-
whole. So
whole-
2?
In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Connex.
In
Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah, 2 guys in a.
And
Connex.
how many in your? What would you call it? A
Platoon?
sweeping unit, or what were the?
So, yeah, military language is kind of tricky. So we were in a battalion, which is made up of 4 companies. Well, batteries if you're in artillery, they call them artillery batteries, and each battery, 7 guys, probably 40 guys, 40 to 60 guys in a company or a battery, and so not a math guy, but a fair amount. So our whole battery went over, and
Yeah. Crazy.
went over there, and we did convoy security, and yeah, so we would what our mission was. Part of what our mission was, because each battery had a different mission. We kind of rotated, was convoy security. So we took people from the Baghdad International Airport across the red zone back into the IZ, which is the international zone. It's called the green zone. Back and forth every day. So essentially a glorified up-armored bus route from one end to the other, and it was monotonous and it was kind of crazy, and yeah, just being away from home that young, being at that heightened level of awareness all the time
Oh, absolutely.
is something I didn't even realize
Well,
until
and
I
they
got
teach
home.
you that. They teach you it in basic, I've heard. And
Right.
it's something that I actually practice that I think every person should, and it's eye movement.
Oh,
Keep
yeah,
your
yeah.
eyes, like when
the
you're
hypervigilance.
walking, keep your eyes kind of moving. And there's actually, I forget the therapy, but
EMDR.
thank you. Yes, I worked with this guy who was a Vietnam vet, and he owned a dojo in Sedona. And you and him, hearing you talk, and it's cool to me. It's a
Yeah.
brotherhood that I almost joined, and I honestly respect it, man, a
Yeah.
ton. Like, holy crap. But
Yeah, dude.
your heightened level of awareness, though, at that young age, like that's
No, it's weird. So humans are so adaptable. Like, we will just adapt to whatever environment we're in. And I didn't realize it until I had gotten home. I was probably a week home, and I was trying to fix the back fence at this condo that I was living at, and the bolt had come undone, and like the thing was moving, and I got so overwhelmed so quickly, like freaked out. I went to Home Depot like 3 different times because I kept forgetting the thing I was going to get.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
and had just like a meltdown in my car on the way back from fixing this back fence door. I was probably like a week back, and just like the after effects of it, I didn't realize would be as intense as they were. And then as time goes on, and I like look back now, it just seems like a different life, a different world, a different life that I lived a long time ago. And but yeah, Iraq was a great experience. Coming home was great but tough, and then the times that led after that really were a hard adjustment for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
And that's when you mentioned like your addiction and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Is that when that?
Yeah. When I got back from Iraq, I went straight to the doctor, and I always had a hard time getting street drugs because I look like a cop, and I always have.
When you walked in, I thought that actually,
Yeah,
man. I
right.
won't lie. I have a citation in Arizona, and I was like, is he really here to just take me in? I don't know where Rick
Right.
lives. I don't know what's happening. No,
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
kidding.
absolutely.
No,
I've actually
but-
been accused of being a cop a lot.
Oh,
Yeah?
same.
Weirdly.
When I
yes.
had my mustache, same. But I've
Yeah.
tried. I won't lie. I tried. I wanted to be a marshal in Fredonia, and I think they saw my application, and they were like, nah. Dude
yeah,
can't
dude.
manage time. Don't
Right.
give him it. Like
Don't give it. Yeah, dude. It was. So anyway, um,
when you got
went
back,
straight to the doctor.
so going straight to the doctor, all of that, but really quick. I want to hear what you did first. I have a question that kind of ties in a later.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you want to share, what did you go
Yeah.
to the doctor for? Like medical prescription, whatever you could get.
Everything. Got everything.
Help me sleep, help me wake up, help me focus, help me all.
Yeah, absolutely. When I got back, I had a pill for everything.
Damn.
So like, for my anxiety, I had a pill. For my
Yep.
depression, I had a pill. For my ADHD, I had a pill.
Yeah.
For my back pain, I had a pill. For my muscle tightness, I had a pill. And then you mix all those bad
Blood
boys
pressure,
yeah,
man. No,
mix all those bad boys up and throw some alcohol in there, and I didn't have to feel much, you know.
Jeez, yeah.
And that's how I lived my life for the next year and a half, 2 years, just driving wherever. I didn't have a job,
you
so just lived off my Iraq money. And
you said you were big on words before we even started this. And
Right.
really quick, you bringing up the pill thing. I love Latin, and in Latin, pharmaceutical is pharmakia, and pharmakia means sorcery. And so I think that, they do help with these ailments, but they're not meant to be taken prolonged. Like,
Right.
interval it. Like I grew up on Ritalin 4 to 17, and
Yep.
if I would have known to interval, like maybe quarterly, hey, for 3 months I'll take it every other day, and then
Right.
for 3 months I won't, and for 3 months, but
Yeah.
cycle. But how did you end up homeless then? How did that occur? Was it just addiction
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
took the wheel?
Yeah. So how it ended up was, let's see, I been about a year of just going wherever I could, stay at this parent's house, stay at this buddy's house. Wasn't working, kind of living off the money I saved. And at one point I hit a pretty hard low where it wasn't working out here in Utah. My dad came, he flew in to Salt Lake and picked me up. He lives out in Phoenix now. So I ended up out in Phoenix, and I was working at this, working as a bouncer part-time.
You were homeless in Phoenix though, or did homeless come
Yeah.
later? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So,
You were a bouncer though too?
Yeah, I was a bouncer out in Phoenix. And
Where, like,
so you know
is
Metro
it?
Sports Bar. So it's
Okay.
off Peoria Avenue.
Yeah.
Right there in, dude, I don't even know where that city is now.
Tempe?
No.
Was it? Or
north
like
of Tempe,
Scottsdale?
south of Scottsdale. So right in
Oh, right.
Peoria area.
Yeah.
But I think it's the one right before
Not
Peoria.
Gilbert. Gilbert's, yeah, anyways.
Anyway, yeah, so it was right there by the 17. And I'd work there part-time, so I'd work there like 3 or 4 nights a week. I'd get drunk in the back, so they had this like freezer that held, and I was in charge of like emptying out trash cans in the middle of the night. Well, they had this freezer fridge thing in the front, and they had built it on top of the old one in the back, so the old one wasn't working. So I'd go back there, I'd grab a couple beers, and I'd go into the back freezer in case a bartender came in, pound those, and come back out and just be like 10, 12 beers deep by the end of the night, and then go back home and sleep all day. And my dad had a rule of no drinking in his house, and I'd go get bottles on my off days and just drink all day in my room and kind of hide the bottles in this gym bag that I had, and then I'd go empty out the gym bag. And got me a couple times and said, dude, you can't stay here anymore. I said, all right. He's like, you probably need help. So I took me over to a detox thing, and then got out, and I had started dating a girl at this time, and my dad had kicked me out. I didn't have anywhere to go, so this girl got a place, and I started living with this girl, and then things went south with her real quick, right? So I was stealing her money so I could go get drunk. You know what I mean? And so she kicked me out.
Dang.
So I was homeless for a little bit, and then went directly into a treatment center, and yeah, it was. And that's when I had that realization of like, if I get out, I got nowhere to go. I got to go get my life together. And
Yeah.
but it's not different. Like, it's not. So with what I do now with coaching guys, like, it doesn't have anything to do with the drugs or the alcohol weren't the problem.
Ever.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the guys I work with today, whether it's drugs and alcohol or gaming or depression or avoidance or whatever it is, like we pick up those dependencies and they really limit our ability to show up and participate in the world and even feel at peace. You know what I mean? And so it's like when I stopped focusing on what the problem, what I thought the problem was, or the symptom of the problem, and I went to the root of it, which some could argue is the human condition, right? That lackingness of like, I am not okay, I am not complete, I am not whole until I get this thing or this person or go to this place.
Outside of me, right. Outside of, yeah.
Until I could make peace with that, I couldn't make any progress in life. Like I couldn't find the peace that I was so desperately searching for in money, in women, in drugs and alcohol, in working out, right?
It's within you.
Right. Like I did competitive powerlifting for a while.
And now you're doing, I mean,
CrossFit
that's
now.
pretty sweet, man. CrossFit is not, I mean, it's,
right.
It takes your mind to somewhere else, man. I've just started getting back to exercise, and it's important. It's crucial.
It is, and just like anything, too much of a good thing, right? Because like I traded.
Also, that was the end of the dryer. Thank goodness. Sorry.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
No, I traded drugs and alcohol for working out when I was about 25, 26, and I became this power lifter, and I was abusing steroids and
hurting your body in a totally new manner.
Right. Right. And I remember when I first started powerlifting, I was like, I just want to bench 400 pounds. I want to squat 500 pounds. I want to deadlift 500 pounds.
Dang.
And 2 or 3 years into it, I got to this point where I could squat 600 pounds, I could deadlift 600 pounds, and I could bench 500 pounds.
Yeah, more.
And it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I remember one of the days that I just had that realization of it will never be enough. I was training. That was the first time I ever attempted 500 pounds, right? 500 pounds is like a big mental game for me. It's a lot of weight, but it was just this big mental game. And I get it off the rack, and I do it really easy. Probably could have done it for a double, but I rack it, right? And before my butt even leaves the bench to get up, my internal process, my thoughts, everything I was thinking about was, dude, that's not good enough. Like, you're in the 275 pound weight class. Your bench press should not be this close to your squat. Like, this is not, you're not going to be an elite power.
Yeah, legs are power. Come on. Yeah.
Before I even leave the bench.
Wow.
Man.
So as I'm walking out, I have this realization that it will never be enough. It will never be enough. And it is my experience, and it's what I preach in coaching. As long as I put my self-worth outside of me or at this destination place, I will never have the peace that I think it's going to give me when I get there.
Amen.
It's just not.
That's the truth.
Not my experience,
To me,
dude.
no,
Like,
yeah.
I have never been more financially insecure than when I have plenty of money. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this phenomenon that I think we get caught up in as human beings, of that happiness, contentment, and peace is out there, and if I just work hard enough, I will get there. Right?
It's the workhorse in us, man.
Yeah.
It really, it's always in our world.
Right. And there's a balance with that, though.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we want to accomplish things. We want to get things done. We want to go places and experience things. And I think the big thing that differentiates that for me is how discontent am I right now thinking about getting to that place, right?
Yeah.
Instead of I'll be okay when I get there, I have to shift it to I'm okay right now, and it will be good if I get there, right? Versus, hey, I'm fine right now, but it'll be better when I get there.
Yeah.
It's I'm good right now, and that will be nice if I get there. You know
You'll
what I
get
mean?
there a lot quicker with that mindset too. I won't lie.
Dude, and it's hard.
With anything, it's boy. We can relate it to the flesh and blood, but it's boy girl scenario. Boy wants girl, girl wants nothing with guy. The moment the guy wants nothing to do with girl, girl all of a sudden has interest in guy.
Right.
But you can manipulate that, so it's like in all aspects. But it's that want. Like you're saying, you know, I'm great right now. I'm happy. I'm content right now. This, though, will be a different level of that. Like once I'm there, that'll be a different level. Those same things will be there, but it'll be a different level in a sense.
Absolutely.
How long have you coached then?
Real
sorry.
quick,
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
no, absolutely.
You know,
Dude,
I'm quiet, but I
you
have
have
things
been.
to
Talk,
say.
man,
Yeah,
talk.
everybody
This guy's.
chime in.
I freaking. So grab the ring.
No, it reminds me of two different things. An analogy, a metaphor we had talked about in an episode we haven't released yet.
Is it the puzzle?
About building the puzzle.
Okay, let's hear it.
And it's like, you know, as a child, we have this picture of the world that we want, that we think the world is. We have this image, call it identity,
Right.
or blueprint or whatever. And then as we grow up, that gets jigsawed up, you know, through life experiences, and then it creates all these little pieces.
Right.
And so at some point, it's like we have this moment where we're just looking at a scattered piece of what we think the world should be, what we want the world, our idea of the world. And so we start to piece it back together in a sense,
Right.
you know, rebuild our identity, rebuild our model of the world. But then, you know, like you're saying, we get to this point where all of a sudden we can't find that piece to keep going. And it's like we start blaming people. We, you know, like,
Who took it?
Somebody came in here and stole
Yeah,
this,
that's
or
right.
the company made this puzzle wrong. And then, you know, we take a break, we come back, we find it. And maybe even in that moment, you know, like we can go work on another section of our puzzle. But at some point, like it always comes to this point where we hyper focus on what's missing.
Yes.
And so we're trying to find that piece in other things, you know, like we're walking around thinking, oh, maybe I put it in the fridge for some reason. Maybe I did it, you know.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
really, it's crazy.
And you can tie it to so much. Like I'm excited. You'll have to chime in, man, too. And what you said you do, is it okay really quick to ask? Because I'm sorry to pull away from the puzzle, but you do a podcast as well, you said.
Yeah, so I'm a part of a podcast. It's called Living the Promise Podcast. And it's based off this model for this center that I contract with to do some of their coaching, some of their parent coaching with. It's called Solagria, and they're awesome. It's another independence program. So like helping these guys.
We don't want your money. Yeah, we don't want your money. We want to give you these tools so you can learn that it's I am all the time.
Well, it is a company. Like it is a company and it is a treatment center, and they do take
like
money, but
you
it's
have
like
to you have to recuperate in order to keep something open doored, but that is cool.
But
Living the Promise.
Living the Promise podcast. So there's 3 other guys on there, and we just talk about a model. Right, so I'm big into models and frameworks.
What do you mean by models and frameworks? Like when I hear model, I picture model car or model plane. Like what is?
Right. So are you familiar at all with like Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Okay, yeah.
That's a model.
Right. Okay, so
it is a beautiful teaching tool for the human mind to like look at, conceptualize, and apply it to their life to help them succeed and get to the place they want to get. So where it's not just like, hey man, do better. It's like, dude, if I could do better, I would have done better already. I'm not happy being here miserable. You know what I mean? So we use these different models, and Carl Jung, you guys familiar with Carl Jung at all?
I've heard
psychologist.
Pretty original. Like a lot of different people have branched off from him, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Jung, right?
Yeah.
Because I've always said Jung, so I'm glad
Jung.
you said Jung.
Yeah, Carl.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he has a quote that I really like. He says,
I thought junk too. So.
Yeah, yeah. No. His quote is, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but know all of the tools, master all of the knowledge or something to that effect. But when speaking to a human soul, be just another human soul. And so for me, it's like, yes, learn these things, learn all the different models and I'm a big guy on like languages.
Same.
So learn all the different languages that speak to different people, right? Because I'm going to have a different language that people resonate with than you're going to have that resonate, that you're going to have that resonate. Some people aren't going to resonate with me. We all speak English, right? But that language of the heart, or that spiritual language, that when you're kind of in this space, different people are going to resonate with. You know what I mean? And so know all of those techniques and those tools that can help people. And also, you're human. Like, just be human when you're talking to another human.
I agree.
And so that's...
You'll freak somebody out.
Yeah.
I've learned that in my own experience. When I share some of my wilder thoughts or things that and I don't say, I'm right in this is a truth. I'm just like, hey, this is a thought. And when I share that, I sometimes scare people, I found.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how come I keep my world to me. Because some people it does resonate with, and others they're just like, la la la, holy shut up, man, I don't want to hear this. Like, I want to be right now. Like, some people are so good at being right here, right now. I think that they almost, like, this is my own thought again, rambling, running, but they're kind of sheeple. Like, some people who are so good at being just present and in a body, it's like, dang, you're really good at that. If you learn to meditate and actually take the reins, I wonder what kind of captain you'd be. Like,
what I like about models and principle and tools is, like, when you do share it with a group of people and you just see all of them, like,
light bulb. Yes.
How do you know me already? Type of a thing. It's like, it's because it's like, I don't know. It's just,
it's the spirit.
Core. It's really,
no, it's what drives me. I was asked one time how I got into this or why I got into it, and I remember. I don't think it's true to say I remember this is why I got into helping people, but I remember the first time that I was so stoked growing with somebody, and it just filled my cup, dude. And I just, not just graduated. I was probably about 20, had to have been 20. So I was 20 years old, Carson, my son, and then I was still married to my first wife, and we were living over in St. George. And on Sundays, I would take Carson on a walk, just me and him. This 3-year-old, we just go walk down the street, right? We go walk down the road, and we were walking down this road, and there was this empty lot, and there was this little hill, probably 6 feet tall, kind of a gradual grade. You could walk up it, and it was this dirt mound thing that I think they were getting ready to lay down to build these houses on, right? And I walk up the hill, at the top of the hill, and Carson is at the base of the hill, and he looks at the hill, and he looks up at me, and he starts reaching for me. He's like, Dad. And I was like, from the top of the hill, looked down, kind of looked at the hill, and I was like, you can climb this. I know you can climb this. I was like, no, you do it. And he's like, I can't do it. And I was like, no, you can do it. Just step up it. So went back down, showed him how to step up it, kind of lean forward, step up it. He took one step, back down, like, I can't do it, and started crying and like wanted me to take him to the top of this hill, right? And he was crying, and everything in me wanted to just go pick him up and take him to the top of the hill. And I was just like, no.
Yeah, you don't see Mama Duck do that to
yeah,
a little
it's like, we're not going to do that. Like, I know you can climb this hill, right? And so I get down there and I kind of show him how to do it on all fours, right? And I get to the top of the hill, and I just stand at the top of the hill, and then something switches in him, and he starts climbing on all fours and gets to the top of the hill. And he stands up, and the light that was in his eyes and how stoked he was to get to the top of that hill almost brought me to tears, dude. I was just so
That's your legacy
stoked,
right there.
dude.
You just taught too. Like, that's what's cool too.
Right.
And I mean, you brought up language. You spoke his language in that moment. You were like, I tried showing him my language. It didn't work. So here's his language.
All right. So he got to the top of the hill, and I was just stoked to see that light in his eyes, and that he could do it, and he knew he could do it, right? And so there's a saying I often use with my guys, and it's I believe that you can't do it, and I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because I'll have so many times people telling me I can't do that, and oftentimes when we're doing that, we're trying to get people on our side, right? We're trying to have them verify to us that we can't do it.
Remind us,
right?
Yeah.
And they'll toss me the rope, right? It's a metaphor I use when we play tug of war with you. And it's like, no, dude, I honor you, dude, and I believe that you believe that, because I've been there and I've believed that about myself, and I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe that you can't. You know what I mean? And it puts this person in a place where they've got to grow for themselves. You know what I mean? And so that's why I don't love the term helping people. You know what I mean? Like, it's an inside job. It's an inside game. Like, if we want to grow and we want to develop, we've got to do the work. We've got to put in the action. Now, we're social beings. Like, we are social hierarchical animals as human beings.
Yeah.
So we were made to be interdependent. So not independent, like a bear species or badgers or something
Community.
like that. They can be, like, we are designed. Why are we at the top of the food chain? Is because we do good in groups.
We teamed up.
Right. The other side of that spectrum is codependence.
Yeah.
Right. We are not designed to be codependent.
Never,
Codependence, like, I'm not okay unless you're okay, and then you're totally going
So
off of someone
dangerous.
else's.
That's why I'm going through my first divorce, to be honest with you, man. And I didn't even see it occurring. It was such a sly thing that snuck up.
Absolutely.
And then once I was out of it, I was like, I was driving her crazy. If she listens ever, I apologize all the time, because I'm like, hey, you dealt with a lot,
Right.
without me even being aware of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I like to call it the dependency pendulum.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys that I work with, and even parents that I work with, is if there's this pendulum swinging, right, and it's with any new skill set that we're trying to develop, we're going to go to the opposite extreme, right? So for, like, example, I was very assertive, aggressive almost, very intimidating to people in my younger years, right? And so I'd gotten enough negative feedback on that I was like, dang, I got to change this, right? And so I swang to the other side to find my parameters unknowingly, because I didn't have a developed skill set yet. And I went to this super passive, like, hey, am I doing all right? Hey, are you okay? Like, am I doing this right?
Too much awareness of the outer. Yeah.
Right. So it's this pendulum, right?
Okay.
And as human beings, we start out codependent, appropriately, right?
Yeah.
We are designed to be codependent on our mothers and our fathers at a young age.
Mom fed us in the womb, yeah.
Right, we're supposed to be, right? And then when we kind of get into our adult years, we try to become independent. We try to do everything ourselves. We try to blaze our own trail. We try to, conquer everything, right? And we have a hell of a time doing that. We really struggle with that, right? So what the goal is for me, and where we really operate ideally as human beings, is when we can swing back to the middle and operate in that interdependence, which means I depend on you, you depend on me. I'm okay without you. You're also okay without me, but we are better when we are working together as a team, right? Life is a team sport.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's
So
like they
teaching
teach this as a relationship, like that. And that way, like, that person goes, this person's good, but if it's that, both might topple too.
Exactly. That's a great metaphor,
Yeah,
great
just
conceptualization of
you're
that.
together, but you're separate still. And that's how you said you're big on words, and I'm big on envelope, like symbols and like all that. But peace, people think is this, but that's actually victory or vendetta. Peace is a unity, like that, because it's two that could go either direction, but they're
choosing to stay together.
Exact, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, dude. I don't know
I
how
like
we got
the
on that
pendulum. No, but the pendulum. You were talking on that and finding what you're operating out of innocence.
Right. Becoming interdependent
Yeah.
in all of our relationships. So a big thing is like building that home within ourselves so that we can become impenetrable, right? Where like you can have opinions about me, you can have ideas, you can have, and that's not going to dictate my reactions. That's not going to dictate my responses.
Absolutely.
Right? I very rarely try to go into a reactionary place. Now I do.
Oh,
right?
we all, I mean.
Right, but better to respond
yes.
than react. So.
Yeah. I agree. Better to, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you read The Peaceful Warrior ever?
No, but I've heard of it.
I like it. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It taught me that a warrior acts, only a fool reacts.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
Yeah, all those, it's just different people speaking different languages. I think after I studied this for a while, because I've been coaching for 7-8 years now, and studied a lot of different things, but would hear these, like, Buddhism and Taoism and then Stoicism and then Christianity and like all these different theologies and philosophies.
Ideologies, all of it, yeah.
Right, is like everybody is saying the same thing in a different way. And I think that's beautiful. Before I thought I was searching for the truth.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, what is the truth? Because I want to know the truth, because if I know the truth, then I'll be successful, and everyone else doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and you know what I mean? And then once I realized that, there is no original thought, and everybody's saying the same thing in a different way, and why would they do that? Why would they need to do that? And it dawned on me that so we can all help more people. Right? We can all grow with more people, reach different people, be with people on different parts of their journey. You know what I mean? And it's whatever gets you there, dude. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I literally have no qualms with any model, any theology, any religion, any philosophy that people live. It's like, dude, if it brings you peace,
just be honest.
Go get it.
That's how I view it. Just be honest
yeah.
in your actions and your doings. That's it. And if you're honest with yourself, then that'll manifest out here. It's like that's all it's got to be.
Right.
And it is our own worlds all the time, man. Like, it's so different for each individual. Like, I've had my dabble with addictions and different things, and so have you, and maybe so have you, and it's just how we go about going through that. And for me, it was surrendering and letting go. Like, that was actually a lot. I was like, why am I trying to fight this when it's me? Yeah. Like, I'm fighting me right now. Just put the sword in the sheath, lower the shield, and be calm with this. And once you kind of get to that, it's like, but it's always your own battle. It's your own way. And
Rumi has a quote. No. Maybe it's Rumi. The quote is, dude, it might be Rumi, but it might also be Khalil Gibran. Anyway, the quote is, God commanded me to love my enemy, so I obeyed, and I loved myself. And I've always loved that one for that.
That's
it's
cool.
like,
that is.
Because I'm always my own worst enemy. You know? And that's why I'm big on the accountability as a principle. Accountability is the keys to the kingdom. It is absolute freedom for me. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to teach the guys and try to display. Is like, if you can take accountability, you can have anything you want in this world. You know, it always starts and ends with me, right? If I'm the problem, then I'm the solution. If I'm not the problem, then there is no solution.
The bar isn't the problem, it's the person. It's not the building, like. Yeah.
I find myself right now, like, I was teaching a class Thursday, and we got on accountability. Are you familiar with the 5 dysfunctions of a team?
Yes. Love the 5 dysfunctions of
Me
a team,
too, man.
dude.
It's
Such a
huge.
great model.
Huge. And it's such a game changer for like work.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Oh,
you
absolutely.
teach that, and it's just
Yeah, I taught the coaching team that too. It's just such a great model.
yes. So we were applying it to ourselves, as I
Oh,
was
yeah, have
teaching,
to.
and I was like, anytime I'm up teaching, being a conduit for these things that I'm learning.
Sorry to interrupt. What are the 5 dysfunctions of a team? Can we share those for anybody
Absolutely.
listening, actually?
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry.
should.
I think anybody listening, along with myself, I don't know what they... And they sound
It's
important and crucial.
It's the
Do you know?
absence of trust,
Mm-hmm.
the fear of conflict, the lack of commitment. Or no, it's not the absence. It's the absence of trust,
yep.
fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results.
Yes.
Dang. Okay, continue with your
It's in
story,
a pyramid. So the theory behind it, and if we had it, is that in order to be an effective team, you go to whatever one you're having a problem with, whatever tier you're having a problem with, the solution to it is solving the tier below it.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? You know that, but
Yeah, well, it always...
I've actually never said that, but I've tried. And
Yeah.
you just made it so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
If
Yeah.
foundation isn't sturdy, building won't.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So love the pyramid with
That's
it too,
true.
because it kind of draws. Because you got auditory learners and you got visual learners, and so when you can marry the two together, then it really.
See, I didn't connect with the pyramid.
I want
Really?
a circle. I like circles myself.
It's still a pyramid, but I drew it as a staircase.
Smart
Oh,
too.
that's
In a pyramid.
smart. That's
That's
way...
great.
Yeah, that's...
And so that's how I've tried to say what you just said, but I
Right.
said you can't take the next step without taking this step.
Before, right.
You have to take the step before the next step. So
Exactly.
yeah, you're spot on though. Yeah, like if you find yourself struggling taking that step, you got to
Right.
work on
Go.
this one.
Yeah.
That's
So you got a
true.
team that's, you're in a room, and this works with a marriage, right? This works with any
Yes.
team thing, and life is a team sport. So anything that you can,
relationship
right?
all the time.
Exactly. And so what I loved about that model is that you get in a room, and as a leader, you can spot pretty easy where you're having a problem, right? If you're all getting together and you're going over, hey, I need some feedback, like we got to make the system better, and everybody is quiet, no one's saying anything, and clearly you got a fear of conflict,
Yeah.
right? So if you got that fear of conflict, then what are we missing? It's an absence of trust, right?
Everyone's a leader of their world, and you want them to share. It's like,
Right.
come on,
But
speak
they,
up.
But
Don't
they
be...
won't
Yeah.
if they don't trust
The
everyone
crew.
in the room or trust the team or the leader or whatever. So yeah, anyway.
No, I love
That's
it.
so true.
And applying it to my relationship has been a game changer.
Right?
You're spot on with that. It's like, yeah. So and then even just applying it with the teamwork within myself,
Yeah.
with all the different parts of me that I'm trying to create a united front. I'm realizing, like, as I was doing this on Thursday, I'm like, okay, the reason I haven't committed to a better diet or a physical regimen is because I'm afraid of the accountability. I don't want to put in the work.
Right.
And I don't want to say it out loud so that people are going to ask me how it's going. And then the reason I'm not full-time coach is the same things. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just afraid of the accountability. So if I do go back the step and think about the commitment, and even deeper than that, what part of me am I not trusting?
Yes, the lack of commitment is like, okay, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Yeah.
I got to put food on the table. Like, I got to not take this chance. I get it, dude. And I think we're all in the same places, like growing this life coaching business and having to put money into marketing and having to, like, it's one thing to be an effective life coach. It is a whole other skill set to be an effective owner of a life coaching company. Those are two separate skill sets.
Yeah.
And I'm lacking dramatically in the being an owner of a life coaching company. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? Like, I can coach, get in a room, talk to people, grow with people. I'm going to click with people I don't, click with people I do, click with people I don't, whatever, right? Managing books, managing money in, money out, when to advertise, who to advertise. It's just this big thing. And it's what's beautiful about it is the like even the connection and camaraderie we have in this room right now of like the faces of our problems are different, but the root of them is the same.
Yeah.
Right? And it's I don't know if you guys have ever heard of A Course in Miracles.
It sounds so
Yeah, it's a
familiar.
pretty-
What is?
I'm going to butcher it, but sometime in the 50s, 60s, a couple psychologists from some school, one of them was either psychologist or psychiatrist. She thought she was going crazy. She thought that she was becoming schizophrenic, and so she went to one of her colleagues and said, "Hey, I'm hearing voices," and basically said that he's like, "Well, what are they saying?" And she was like, "It just keeps going over. I just keep getting the same thing. This is A Course in Miracles. Write this down." And that would just repeat in her brain. And so her colleague was like, "All right, well, what if we just have sessions once a week and we write down whatever it says?" And it's this 365-day course that is like the true teachings of Jesus Christ or something. And it's a pretty intricate little thing, but the principles behind it are really interesting. Anyway, the reason I said that.
So it's a book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big book. Do some research into it.
I didn't know it was a book. I thought it was
free. It's a course. It's a whole course, and it's completely free, and it's online. And if you go to acourseinmiracles.org, it's got its own. Yeah, it's a really cool resource if you're looking to expand or just dabble in something new, spirituality-wise. Anyway, the whole reason for bringing that up was we were talking about how we're all the same, right?
Yeah.
And the faces of our problems are different, but the principles behind them are the same. And what I've come to realize, and kind of what they mentioned in A Course in Miracles, is things are either done out of fear or they're done out of love. Like anything can be traced
Scarcity
all
or
the way
abundance.
back to that, right?
Yeah.
And that's I got it. I'm a big simplify it guy, right? So simplify it all the way down to that. And in A Course in Miracles, I was reading through, and they broke it down a step further, which I thought was beautiful. It said things are either done out of love or a call for love.
Shit.
I like that.
Because really,
Holy crap.
right? Because really, it's like we're only afraid. Fear only comes from two places: fear of not getting what we want or losing what we have.
Feeling less than, losing what we think we already,
which is love. It's a want for love,
right?
For love, for fullness, for contentment, whatever you want. We're not talking about the traditional definition of, intimacy between.
Yeah. Would you repeat it one more time?
So everything breaks down to either love or a call for love.
Man.
And
we've all called for it.
Right. It's ever what we're ever doing. Yeah. Right? Is like this idea that this separateness, this I am different than, or I won't get there, or I won't be enough, or I won't. And what I love about that as it applies to like coaching and growing is everybody, like we're all just wanting to be okay, right? And there's this term called unconditional positive regard, right? So we're talking about rapport building skills, and we're talking about, connecting with people. When you're working with someone and it's getting tricky, it's getting hard, and not just clients as a coach, right? But your wife, right? Your kids, your ex-wife, right? Anybody. If we can stop the assumption of, hey, they're trying to pull one over on me, or they're trying to just get this from me, or they're being manipulative, or they're being whatever, when we get out of that defensive stance and we can say, wow, this person's just needing love right now, then compassion can come in. And things done out of love for me, there's time, there's space, there's room to talk about it,
I think we
energy.
Get the defense too. Like you brought up the defense, and I think we get that way because we're seeing a portion of us in them, because we're always mirroring and mirrored at, in a sense, as people. And so I liked that. Yeah. We do get learning those defenses is the smart. Like, not, yeah, that's not even correct either. Smart, not smart. Like,
right.
that's
Learning
not
the
even
defenses, building
It
awareness.
gives you an advantage is a better way to word it.
Right. The internal, right, which relates to the accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which relates to like, I agree with you. I believe that awareness is 50% of the solution to any problem. If you can have awareness around it, then you're halfway there. Right. There's
agree.
obviously going to be some action steps you need to, but knowing the why. Why do I do this?
What's the intent?
Right? Like when I can neutralize my fears, because I'm the only one that can. No one else can for me. There's not a person out there that can neutralize a fear that I have.
Right.
Yeah.
When I can accept my fears and build awareness around my fears, I am less susceptible to you driving me, you having power and control over me that I give you, right? I give you that power and control, the more peace I have. You know what I mean? And then the more peace I can show up and have for you, the more space there is to have someone grow, right? And so it's just a beautiful process of like simplifying it down, growing with other people, and realizing that there's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know? So to speak.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then from there, like after the awareness, like I don't know about you, but
Where does it go?
when
I'm curious.
well when I started down this road that I'm on that has led me to realize that I want to be a coach, it got hard.
Yeah.
Becoming aware of me was a really hard thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of damn, I loved ignorance, and I would prefer ignorance.
Yeah.
And it's like realizing that if you just put in the work and you just stay disciplined, accountable, like you stay true to what you're learning, it becomes easier. And like you said, man, it's that freedom.
I like the fish. I brought it up before we got going, but the fishing, man, because ignorance, I find at times I have to go into it.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I almost have to, or if I don't, I'll kind of overwhelm myself with thought, with things, with what is, what isn't. The
Right.
brain can run.
Yeah.
And so at first you're back and forth, but then you do get firm in it. Like we said, fishing, you let it swim while you reel it. You let it swim, you reel it. You pull, you feed it, and it's
Right.
the flow. And then you upgrade the line. You learn, and then you catch bigger fish, bigger.
Right.
Soon you're catching tuna off the coast.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and none of it's possible if you don't cast that first line.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm also a big advocate of action.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least 30 days. If someone listening is struggling with something, 30 days, change it up. 30 days. Give yourself that. Maybe you could even do 3 days. You could do a week. Like, I started out doing exercising again and was just randomly. I watched Iron Claw with Zac Efron and was like, oh man, those guys are beasts. And after that, it kind of initiated it, and I could have ignored it. I could have just lived in that little serotonin drop the movie gave me and been like, yeah, that felt good. Mentally, I worked out for 3 months, but I actually got down and did it. And after 3 days that I gave myself, I was hungry after that. I was like, nah, I'm going for a week. I'll see how I feel then. Okay, I'm going for a month. I'll see how I feel then.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of starting.
Yes.
If you're listening to this right now, just start. Just do a small thing. Like put your shoes on and go for a walk.
Yeah.
You know
Make your bed that morning.
Right. Or like right now after you do 10 push-ups. Like do something.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to be like, when I'm first warming up, I do like, they call them girl push-ups or whatever when you're on knees leaned out. But really, that to me is just a warm, like waking up the body.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to go and start smacking it.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
I like you say start. What are your...
Well, no, I think that's, I've learned that too, is anytime you make a decision on something that you've got to change or improve in your life, never leave that point of decision without an action.
Yeah.
And take action right now. I mean, we teach it at work all the time of, all right, we've got to improve this process. And then if that's all we did was just identify it, like nothing would improve. So
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah,
how that process works.
Yeah.
It's just taking that action in the moment.
I forget the female who wrote the book, but it's like 3, 2, 1, go. And I watched a video on her. What was it?
Brene Brown?
And she uses
5-second rule?
No, but this female was like, when there's a launch, it's 3, 2, 1, go.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I live off that. Like 3, 2, 1, like, and it doesn't mean do whatever, be crazy. Like 3, 2, 1, go, rob a bank. It's 3, 2, 1. What's my moral compass? Like I'm headed for my true north. Like what is that? And then,
yeah, dude, there's a couple things that I think about, because what stops us from starting is fear.
Yeah.
Right. And the 3, 2, 1, go. Great. You think,
do it. You know what I mean? Really quick, you say fear, but fear of this or fear of actually how great we sometimes think we could be, in a sense? Like, do you think people at times are scared of their greatness too?
I think depending on the moment and depending on the topic and depending on, it could be fear of not getting what we want or fear of losing what we have. You know what I mean? Like, if I try and I don't get there, then what does that mean about me? You know what I mean? Am I wasting my time, right? Like, that's a big one for me, is like, I don't want to waste my time. As if there's anything else to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as if you could save time if you wanted to. Like, time is
a feeling.
On. Yeah.
Really? Zig Ziglar, Les Brown said it, but I've got a Zig Ziglar book. He's pretty good. And Les Brown said, failure is not, or he didn't say it, I think it was Zig, but Les said it in a speech, and he's like, failure is not final, failure is feedback.
Yeah.
And once I heard that, it was like, huh. Like, it never was final, and sometimes I gave up, I quit, and then, like we've spoken previous recordings, you don't get upset at the quitting either.
Mm-mm.
It's shifting. You never quit. You shifted your attention. You grew in that aspect. You gained what you needed at that moment, at that time, and you shifted to a new.
Yeah.
And you're gaining, and it's.
Yeah, dude.
Freaking life. I had a moment, I won't lie with you guys. I'm sorry to run with it, but yesterday I had a moment where I was terrified. Like, and I go in and out of that. I have since really young age.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can think, man, really far. It's like, holy crap, like my mother, my grandmother, like blah, 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 all the way back, like where did it begin? You know, and then it's like, where is it going? Where do I fit in? Like, it's going to end for me in this flesh and blood, blah, blah, blah. And I was just freaking out. Scared of death is really what it was. And there's 6 fears that are pretty big. And it's like fear of poverty, fear of loss of love, fear of death, fear of, I'm spacing it. It's outwitting the devil, Napoleon Hill. But I was so freaked out yesterday, and I'm driving with my sister, and all of a sudden, like, something came over me, and it was like, hey, if it's fear, it's not what you're made of. It's not what brings these trees back. It's not what any of this is working on. It's not it. And so once that came, like, it was weird, out of nowhere, and we all as people have these moments, but I spoke from my heart.
Right.
And I just randomly, we were driving in silence, and she could think I'm crazy, but she actually cried with me. But I started tearing up, and I was like, hey, buddy, like, I just want you to know, no matter what happens after here, in this moment, and now, in this time, like, I'm grateful to have you as a sibling and a sister in this time. Like, you've been a great sister spirit for me, and you've taught me. And it was just a cool, like, speaking from here, letting the fear go, just being here and now, because really, I've not been to the other side and been back. I don't know many who have, and some claim they have, but I'm like, I don't think you really, like, that was your interpretation, because I think we all have our own, but I do believe this is a passing, that it's not, life and death are such funny words to me, but passing, we're spirits passing through this space right now.
Yeah.
But we're in a flesh and blood, which is, yeah. I'm sorry to spill and randomly tangent that, but just what we've talked today really like kind of solidified my experience yesterday of kind of, we can get so caught up in the what's next, where time, space, heaven, hell, all this bigger thing, but it really is our world in this moment, here and now. And all you have is here and now, and it's the little choices in the here and now that you make that create the world that you want to live.
Right.
Like,
decisions shape our destiny.
Hugely, man. Like, I really, the smallest ones. And I've learned that, I don't know if I've even shared, but I told you I almost got a DUI. And I mean, I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
That little decision, man. And really, what's funny is at first I was like, I'm fine to drive. Like, what do you mean? I passed the physical field sobriety, but the moment I breathalyzed, I even was kind of like, really? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I swear I'm functioning right now. That's got to be lying. Like, it kind of, you know, but numbers, they don't really lie. I'd like to say the numbers sometimes, like, we wish they would, but when I step on a scale and it says what it is, it's what it is. And it's not, I'm not there to try to shift them. I'm there to just work around them. And no, I've enjoyed this. Sorry, I've been.
Yeah.
I'm just amped. It's cool to like.
Absolutely.
Legend.
No, dude, it's awesome to be here with you guys. I think just in closing, one of the things that's helped me, that I have to remind myself often, is two things. When it comes to fear and doing new things or trying things or setting goals or, like changing my life. There's two things that I learned. One is, I was actually in that treatment center, and one of my mentors showed up. And I was in my bed and decided I wasn't going to get up that day. I was wallowing in my own self-pity of like, oh, I'm a failure. Like I got asked to leave the military. I got divorced. I got 2 kids. I don't pay child support.
You weren't wallowing. You didn't even want to move. I know those days, man.
Yeah. Oh, it was wallowing in self-pity.
Totally.
My mentor came to the door. He's like, Rick, what are you doing? I was like, dude, there's no point. Like, there's no point in that. And he just looked at me and he's like, Rick, get up. Nobody gives a shit. And to me in that moment, it was the most freeing thing I had ever heard anyone ever say. Like, I just realized nobody gives a shit, dude. Everybody is out here living their own lives, self-obsessed, just trying to survive and I get so worried about what people will think about me, of how I'm perceived, of how, like, what's happening, or if I'm doing it right, or, right? Like, there's 50 people following me around just saying, no, you screwed that up, dude. Don't.
A lot of critics.
That's not true, right?
Yeah.
And the critics, all the critics that I talk about or I hear people talk about, they're in my head.
Yeah.
Like, they're just my own critics. Like, when I say, dude, let the haters hate. It's like, dude, you're your own hater. Like, no.
It's truth.
Nobody gives a shit. Like, they're all doing their own stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other one is, nobody knows what the hell they're doing. My mom's husband, his name's Aaron. He's like one of the smartest guys I know. He said, Rick, everybody's an idiot at something. And it's like, especially in this helping people coaching game, I can get so caught up in being the smart guy or being the smartest guy or needing to be perceived as so intelligent or so right or so whatever. And so I have to be doing all the right things. It's like, no, dude. I'm 34 years old. I've been married twice. I've got 3 kids, right? I got a 2-year-old daughter. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I am literally winging it every day.
You do know that you're the one creating it, though, and that's the biggest key.
But when we're talking about helping other people, like, the permission to be human is huge. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. Never been this old before, right? So then, all that's left to do is act. All that's left to do is, like, based off of our discernment, we know what the next thing to do is. And usually, for me, if it's the thing I'm afraid of doing, it's the thing I should do.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like coming and doing this podcast. Like, I'm afraid to go do
I
that,
was
dude.
a
I
little
don't
too.
really, I'm just,
Jeez.
right. And then I got invited to do a seminar next month.
Where
Sorry,
at?
in June.
In
St. George.
What's it called? Is it?
It's
how
just
would
me.
we get tickets?
It's just you.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know when it gets closer, but
Well,
it'll
and
be
for
in June.
not just please, like,
Yeah, like
I'd love to find out so then we could either have you back as a guest or even just announce it because whoever's caught on this episode is
right. I'll let you guys know for sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be in June. It's gonna be like a lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings, and for an hour, it will just be me and a bunch of people, and you know how terrifying that is, like, to do that. And at first I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not gonna.
Your brain wants to keep you alive.
Yeah, my
It
brain
really
like,
does. Your brain's like, don't get up there, you'll humiliate yourself.
Right. It's like, don't do it. And all the excuses, right? Of like,
such
well,
bullshit. Yeah.
I'm better one-on-one with people. Like, no, I don't really need the spotlight like that. Like, I don't. Like, all these. And then I got real quiet with it. And it's like, no, Rick, you're afraid to do it because you don't want to look dumb.
Well, and also,
you have another choice.
But
you know?
I really sometimes think, man, at least for me, we're scared of how great we will fucking be. Pardon my French, but we are scared of that. Like, it's like your brain almost is like, don't get up there because then you'll do so good that others will perceive it. This like the brain goes so many ways.
It does.
It's funny, but that trying to keep you alive is.
Yeah, that's the one.
How many? I mean, I'm excited. I'm in.
No, we've done
I
no
love
marketing.
that place too.
I've done no marketing for it. I've done no. Because again, I don't know what I'm doing.
It just will be.
And I'm mentioning all this as an example of like when I just show up and be willing to do the work, and like win, lose, or draw, we're gonna do this. Then my life changes, right? Like I'm a better man for coming here and doing this podcast with you guys, right? Did I want to do it? No. Well, I wanted to do it. I was just scared to do it, right? Or like all the excuses to come do it. But, and this is growth.
I like the honesty.
Yeah. This is growth.
It
you
is,
know what I mean?
man.
Like, and we all know that's the big thing with coaching. Is like I'm not bringing any new information to the table. Like you know what you need to do, and only you know what you need to do. And like doing it with somebody, having a teammate to do it with, to be accountable to like connect with, to get support from, crucial, absolutely crucial, right? And only I know what the next thing is. You know what I mean? Like and you just act, you just do it, you know. So anyway,
I love that. Yeah. Question that I just remind myself of all the time is, what are you pretending not to know? And when I ask myself that, I'm like, okay, I'm pretending not to know that I need to do this.
Yes.
And it's like, and I'm gonna continue to pretend not to know that. No.
Yeah. Right.
That's where I'm at now. Like I really am avoiding some pretty big decisions, and it's like.
Yeah. Because as humans, we change at the rate of pain. When
I love that.
the fear,
that's so truth.
Right. When the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of change, we change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And some people can change like out of goodness, like they want something better for themselves. It's not me. That's not how I change. How I change is I get so miserable.
Yeah.
The devil I know isn't better than the devil I don't.
Yeah.
I have to move. I have to adjust. I have to change. And then oftentimes I change and I look back and I say, wow, that was a lot easier than I was dragging it out to be. And for some reason, that doesn't change anything. Like the next time I have to change, it's the same process. It's not like
truth.
I accumulated this and like, oh yeah, I've learned from all these
It'll
things.
be so much easier the next
I'll just
time.
change. It's like, no, dude, it's not.
It's like we said, it doesn't get easier.
Like that, but
it's hard. It's not ever easy. It's hard to be fat. It's hard to be fit. It's hard to be anything. So choose which hard you're willing. Like
I like that one too.
So, couple just quick questions. Quickest answer.
Keep going. No, open it up. I could record all night. I'm such a. I'm the devil. I'm lying, but serious. Yes. Thank you for honestly too, Rick. Thank you for sharing the time with us, man.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I'm honored to be here.
I honestly I think everyone needs a life coach, and I think everyone needs a mentor, and you might be hearing from me. Just to, I'll pay you, man.
Absolutely.
It's time is money, so I'll
Yep.
pay you. But I'd love just to sit down and talk more, man.
Oh.
Like,
Absolutely, dude.
this has been.
Anytime.
Where could people, before you ask the questions, but where could people reach out to you? Do you
Yeah,
take
I have a
new clients?
website.
Do you?
Yeah, I have a website, and then also just on Facebook and Instagram, True Freedom Coaching. At True Freedom Coach. I don't know exactly the handles. Is that what
yeah.
they're called? Like,
I
I'm
think
not
I
a
just
big.
typed in True Freedom Coaching.
Yeah,
and
if
it
you just
popped
look up
right
True Freedom Coaching and
And they could Google that, and the website would. Or
not
do
Google
they?
it, just go on social media. I'm struggling
like
with
that.
the website part right now. It's
Dude, Google is such a.
Hard.
It's hard to
Yeah.
work. Like, even when I was doing the nursery, trying to put the address in, I was like, "Come on, Google!" Like,
Dude.
it took you guys 2 months to verify where I was. Like,
dude.
you guys know where
Yeah.
I'm at all the time. I use your maps.
Right. So anyway, that's where you can
Yeah.
find me. But
Right
yeah,
on.
you can
True
follow me.
Freedom Coaching.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely. What were the two questions you had?
Yes. Yeah.
What's like the best advice you've ever? I mean, you've shared some pretty good advice you've gotten from people, but like the best advice you've ever received.
I think I just shared it. Those
Yeah.
two things
Yeah.
is no one gives a shit and nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And those two things are so freeing to me. The combination of those two is like, dude, go play, go figure it out, like, go start a business, go, you know what I mean, like pay for that seminar or sign up for school or, you know, because time's going,
Yeah.
and whether we want it to or not, there's no such thing as saving time, you know.
I love that. I love that. All right.
Me
What's the
too.
worst advice you've ever been given?
Worst advice I've ever been given is this is the right way to do it. Whatever that thing was. Rick, this is the right way to do it.
I like that.
There's not a right way to do something. Like there's your way that works for you, right? And that's what I love about, like, I was raised LDS, and like there are truths and there are goodness in that.
Completely.
Right. I have a problem when somebody says this is the one true way, just because I know truth doesn't operate that way, right? And so helping somebody find their truth, right, or being with somebody while they find their truth, and being open to like different ways of seeing things has been so eye-opening and helpful for me. There's a quote that I really like. It says, there is a term that will bar against all knowledge and will keep a man in everlasting ignorance. And that term is contempt prior to investigation.
Wow.
We gel ourselves. Is
And
basically.
yeah, contempt prior to investigation. And I do that to myself often. See, I can't do that. I'm not good with crowds. I can't. Yeah, I'm better with one-on-one. Like I wouldn't, you know, it's like, well, did you do it? No. Well, then how do you know?
Yeah.
like,
Totally.
like go investigate it. Like go experience it. Go, so that like will keep a man in everlasting ignorance. Contempt prior to investigation.
Have you ever heard of Dr. David R. Hawkins?
Not right off my top of my head.
He's written 10, 12 books, and one is Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender, which taught me a ton. I'm not just name dropping him. Like, he taught me every I can't is really an I won't in that book, in that reading.
yeah.
It's like, whoa, oh my.
Dude,
like,
that's back to accountability.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
That's,
like, you know.
the accountable way to say that.
I can do it. Right now, I just won't.
Yeah.
I can dance. I can dance like a mofo.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm okay.
Yeah. Or I don't want to.
Yep. And we always, it's funny, even me knowing this stuff, man, like I naturally in conversation, and it might even be that I overthink things, but I naturally, when somebody's like, come dance, and I feel their energy, I don't go, oh, I'm a great dancer. I just am not feeling it right now. And I don't say, oh, I won't. I say, I can't dance.
Yep.
And I'm doing myself and them a disservice, man. It truly is. Like, and that's what I'm waking up to is like, by me lowering to what I think they might be frequency wise, and it's not them as a being or a person, but we do have different levels of energy and frequency.
Yeah.
I'm doing myself a huge disservice, first of all.
Right.
I'm doing the creator that made me a big disservice, and I'm doing that person, that other being, another disservice by not saying, hey, you know what, I really like to dance, but I'm just not feeling it right now. Thank you, though.
Right.
Have fun out there.
Absolutely.
Instead, I drop down to remind them of that limiting, like we all, such a ripple.
So totally is.
I've got to ask though too, really quick. Like,
Absolutely.
do you already said you apply it in a sense to parenting, but how has life coaching helped you with parenting as well? Because there might be parents listening, and really, I think it's beneficial. Like, I loved how you taught your boy. I really did. That is.
No, parenting, and that's part of what I do. I do parent coaching as well. So
phenomenal.
I help the parents develop an adult-to-adult relationship with their now adult children, right? And it's a tricky process, right? But there's this book called Khalil Gibran. It's called The Prophet. It was I highly encourage you guys to read it.
Khalil Gibran.
Yep, Khalil Gibran.
Okay.
Some people think it's divinely inspired. I do. It was the first book he ever wrote and the last book he ever finished over a span of 50 years. And it's this fictional book about this prophet that goes to this island, and all these people come and speak. All these people come to him, and they say, Lord, speak to us on these different topics, right? And they say, speak to us of the children. And he opens up by saying, your children are not your children. You may house their bodies and they come through you, but they have their own spirit and they have their own life, essentially, right? And that has been the beautiful part about this to me. There's a big thing I say often is the way you do something is the way you do everything, right? And when I attach less to what I think my son should be and what he should do and how he should act and the man he needs to be, because he's a reflection of me, the more I attach to that, the less peace I have, and the less of a relationship I have with my son. The more I let go and I let him be his own human being, right? There's boundaries, obviously. He's 16 years old.
Well, and the universe has boundaries.
Right. It's like, you're
there's
not
always
going to get a
boundaries.
tattoo. You're not going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You're not like...
You're under this roof.
Right.
Respect it.
And I tell him, hey, when you're 18, you can do the hell you want, dude. For now, I'm your father, and I'm doing what I think is best under the parameters that I've been given. And at the same time, letting him have his experience as a human being, right? Like, that freedom is invaluable, dude. It is so beautiful. And so I try to award that freedom to every human soul and not put my projections or my opinions or my manifestations onto other people, to include my kids.
I love it, man.
Gotta let them be their own human beings, like make their own decisions about things, and let them have a journey.
Yeah.
Would you say that, sorry, but that stirred up one other, but like, I loved that you said that you're their father in this moment, but they're a spirit housing a body. They're a steward amongst that flesh. And
Right.
would you say that learning the life coaching stuff kind of made it a little trickier also, because you were like, I know this stuff, man, like, come on, these are some truths, but did it actually make it more easy? Like,
It made it easier.
Okay.
It made it easier because what I saw is that people change when they're ready to change and not a moment sooner. And it's beautiful that they get to do it that way. When I let go of the idea of I need to be the guy that changes you and that makes me a good life coach, when I let go of that idea, I also let go of the idea that I have to be the father that changes you. Because I investigated it, right? So you go down that fear, you investigate, you ask why a lot. You ask why. You say, why do I feel that way? Why do I need to be the coach that changed you? Well, because if I'm not, then I'm not a good coach. It's like, okay, what if I'm not a good coach? It's like, well, then I'm not doing anything with my life. I'm not good at anything. It's like, okay, well, what does that have to do with the other person? It's like nothing. It's always this self-centered fear, right? And when I shifted it to, hey, I wonder what I can add to this guy's journey, right? Because one's a giving mindset, one's a taking mindset. When I'm showing up to be the best life coach, I'm taking from you, right? That's one thing I teach coaches a lot is, I had a coach I was mentoring one time, and he said, Rick, how do you do that? Like, how do you just show up and you're just the man, and like people listen to you and they respond to what you do, and like, and there's a model I teach between having rapport and having accountability. And usually people that we have high accountability with, we have low rapport with. Like a boss, right? A mentor, we're going to have less of a relationship with because we're going to be more reserved because they tell us what to do, right? And usually those that we have high rapport with, we're going to have lower accountability with. A buddy, right? That gets you.
You're more lax.
Right.
Yeah.
So to be an effective coach, you need to have high in both. And that is not human nature to do, right?
Yeah.
And so part of that's like building a home within yourself. That like, anyway, so go back to the situation. He's like, how do you do that? I was like, well, why do you want to know how to do that? He's like, well, I want to be like that. I want to be a good coach. I want to be...
Emulate you.
Yeah, and I realized in that moment what he was doing, and I was like, dude, as long as you need to be a coach and you need to be admired and you need to be seen as this guy, you will never have that. Because people are allergic to other people needing something from them.
It's an attack.
Yeah,
it's serious attack.
Yeah, we're perceptive like that. So what these coaches do, or what this coach did, and what we find ourselves in coaching positions is it is very subtle, but it is there. That in order for me to be okay, I need you to like and respect me. So I'm going to do things, I'm going to be pulling from you to do things.
You're shifting your archetype.
And this is all subconscious. Right?
Absolutely.
All of it's subconscious. When it shifted for me and when I started having a good impact is because he wanted to be this coach. I was like, why do you want to be like me? He's like, because I want to help people. I want to be the guy that changes people's lives. And that's what I said to him. I was like, as long as you need to be the guy that needs to change people's lives, you'll never get to be the guy that changes people's lives. Because of this concept, right? This thing that I'm not the first guy to ever do it, but I saw, right? I could see clear as day, right? I was like, you want to be the guy standing on the top of the hill, pulling these people up. I want to be the guy standing next to the guy on top of the hill, celebrating with him in our understanding and awareness of this cool journey of life of like, look at the cool shit we're learning together. You know what I mean? There's a resonance, not a power differential. Like, it's the difference between like, dude, right? Look how cool this is. And see, I told you.
Yep. That's
you see what I'm saying?
Such a simple,
right. And whether it's life coaching or being a husband or leading in a company or whatever, when you're the guy that you want to celebrate with other people, not be celebrated or have accolades or have these things, dude, that's where the magic is with coaching, with leadership, with being a father, with anything of like being in synchronicity with someone. So
I love it.
I don't know how we got to that tangent.
No, I asked you with the coaching how it applied to parenting and how it, but I really, you took it to somewhere good, man. And
those little shifts in perspective can have, so basically I don't need anything from the guys I coach.
Yeah.
And because I don't need anything from the guys I coach, we are free to have a relationship.
They teach you everything.
Yeah, we're free. They're free to learn from me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I found this. This is my own too, for what I believe in me. But when I've been seeking power, or when I think I have power,
right,
it's always a thought. It's always a think. It's always and it's scarcity. It's fear. It's I need power because I'm not as strong as. I need power because I'm less than. Liberation and freedom and love, abundance, totally different things where you can feed into whichever one. But I love this because Rick, you've honestly solidified in me that you as a coach, power has nothing to do with the journey you're on. It's liberation, it's freedom, it's love, it's growth, it's the things that people need. And you're giving a great space, man, and I hope that we are, I know we are as well in a different way. I'm not going to say hope. I honestly know for a fact that these conversations that we all get to share have an effect, and it's a big space is what I want people listening to get. Like, you have a big heart, man. You're this big guy, but you've got a bigger heart than even your body will represent ever, man. And same, and it's
kindred spirits.
A tree or a plant will grow to the environment, the space it's in. Mm-hmm. And you as a life coach are teaching people to reach to the sky and let those roots dig deep for some good water. And rather than containing that tree and being like, oh, here's your new container, you grew a little, here's your new container, grow a little more, here's this. You're like, what's your limit?
Yeah.
How far do you want to grow? And
absolutely.
Man.
Well, man.
What do we want to wrap?
We've been wrapped up, bro. We've gotta wrap this up. We gotta end it.
What even time? Oh my goodness. Holy.
We gotta end it.
Time is elusive. Sorry. Rick, I apologize.
No, it's been beautiful. I'm glad we went over. Because it's been really good.
Let's wrap up website one more time for anyone listening. Yeah. I want to even check it out myself.
Social media.
Yeah, it's social media. So it's truefreedomcoaching.org, and then just True Freedom Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. You'll find that. And
right on.
Yeah, check it out.
Awesome. Well,
I'm excited.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely, fellas.
Thank you guys. We'll do a chain.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.